This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, guys. So let's start the session. So today we'll discuss about the Scrum process, how it is going to be implemented, all those things we'll discuss. So here, yesterday we have seen some introduction about the different roles are there in the Scrum and in Agile methodologies, what are the different frameworks that are available, and what is meant by sprint, and some of the terminologies which we are going to be used in your Agile Scrum we have discussed. So today we'll be getting depth of the Agile implementation in Agile Scrum implementation in your project management. So as I said that is Agile is a methodology and Scrum is one of the frameworks which we are using in our software development. The Scrum is a subset of Agile. It's a lightweight process framework for Agile development and most widely used one nowadays. In every organization now, the Agile Scrum has been implemented. And in an interview, you can definitely expect the questions from your Agile development. They are going to be asking the question, do you have any experience in working with your Agile software development? Whether you have involved, because mostly in this one, the developers, testing people, and infra people, they are going to be involving and working with this Agile development process. That is why, as a DevOps engineer, you should have an awareness on implementation, how Agile Scrum is implementing in your software development. That is why we have to know about this. So, and the terminologies, the process, everything you have to be completely understand in this. Next. And here Ken Squaber and Jeff Sutherland have written the Scrum guide to be explaining the Scrum clearly and succinctly. So yesterday I have shared a Scrum guide to you people to go through all the documentation which is which these two people have been written this book, and it is 21 pages one Scrum guide, guys, and I want you to be go through 2 to 3 times of this one. Scrum is easy to be understand. It is very difficult to be implemented. Once you completely understand about the Scrum process and the terminologies and the roles, what kind of a roles they are using, what kind of a roles they are playing in the Scrum, and if you have understanding, then only it will be easy for you to be understanding in a better way about the Scrum implementation in your development. Let's see. A Scrum is most often used to be managing the complex software and product development using iterative and incremental practices. So Scrum significantly increases the productivity and reduces time to benefits relative to classic waterfall process. So it reduces the time, because in waterfall methodology, when we are developing the software using the waterfall methodology, it took a lot of time. That is, it took around years, like 1.5 year, 2 years, depends upon the size and complexity of your project. Your application development took a lot of time using waterfall methodology, because there is a lot of loopholes are there in this waterfall methodology. But here, after making an analysis on that waterfall methodology, and these guys, they have developed a new methodology where it provides increases, or it provides the flexibility to your client and increases the productivity of your organization and reduces the time and giving the quality software in a very quick intervals of time. So this is what the Scrum is all about. So to implementation of this Scrum, yesterday I was told you that the Scrum Master is a person. There are 3 roles are there: product owner, Scrum Master, Scrum team. The product owner is a person, is a client person who is going to be coming and working with your development organization. That is, he's a person who's coming and working with you. Suppose you are in a development organization. Suppose App Solutions is a company name, okay, development organization, and you people are the developers. Suppose I'm a product owner, Okay, I'm from the HSBC company. So I'm the person as a product owner. I'm coming and working with you people in your app solutions organization, and I'm the person who's going to be giving you the requirements. I'll make sure that I'll be available to you all the time while you're working on the development software development on the while you're working on the application. If you have any kind of a queries you're getting, I should be available to you all the time and clarifying your queries. That is why the product owner is a person who is going to be coming and working with the development organization. Earlier, we used to be as a development team. There is some team is going to be selected, and we people at development team, we are going to be working with your client organization at client place. In few projects, not all the projects, guys. In few projects, we used to be working at client location, but here it's reverse. The product owner is coming and working with you people. Okay, so to implement all these things, and the Scrum Master is a person is going to be train the development team. Here, development team is nothing but your Scrum team, guys. Scrum team consisting of minimum 7 members, maximum 9 members. Minimum 7 and maximum 9 members, in which consisting of full-time employees and the part-time employees. Full-time employees are the developers, designers, and the testing team. And these people, they are going to be designing your web page, designing your application, writing the code, testing that application. Okay, these are all things will be regularly they will do that. So to implementation of this Scrum, as a development team, they are not having any experience on working with the Scrum implementation. So initially, to make them understand, the Scrum Master is a person. Suppose you people are the development team. As of now, still now you are worked on waterfall methodology kind of an approach. You have developed the applications, but you don't know how to be implemented the Scrum. So as a Scrum Master, suppose let me think that I am a Scrum Master. I'm going to be train you about the Scrum implementation in the project development. So what I'll do is it takes time to make you understand about how we have to be implement the Scrum in your project development in the different phases. So for that one, I am going to be explaining you the principles and the ethics, how we have to be implement, how we have to be transforming ourselves from the behavioral approach when we which we have done in the waterfall methodology, how we have to be transformed into self-organized into your agile scrum implementation. So for that one, they have framed some rules are there, rules to be implemented in your scrum. So those are nothing but your manifesto. There are 12 principles are there. So we are calling them as agile manifesto. So we are going to be discussing on this agile manifesto. Remember this, guys. These things you have to be keep it in mind while you're working in your agile scrum. The first principle, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. That is what our highest priority. Always we have to make sure that when we have delivered the software, the customer has to be satisfied. When we are delivering the continuous software, that means continuous delivery of valuable software. What is mean by valuable software? Whatever the software we have delivered to the client, and that software should be useful to the client for his business. That adds the value to the business. So that is called valuable software. So the first priority is to always make sure that your customer is satisfied when we have delivered the software to him. When the customer is going to be satisfied and is have satisfied this satisfied when you have delivered the software as per the expectations, as per the expectations for the given by your customer, and the customer is happy when when the software which we have delivered to him, it will be useful for his business without any hiccups. So this is the main thing you have to be keep it in mind when we are working with your agile scrum. Fine, guys. Next. Point is, welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile process harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. That means this is the most important thing, guys. Welcome changing requirement. Here, the client is having the flexibility to give the requirements even after the development has been started. As per the market competency, he can come up with the new requirements at any point of time and he can give it to the development team and get it developed. But this feature is not there in Agile, sorry, in waterfall methodology. This is the main reason behind waterfall methodology to be get it failure. Because once the development has been started, your client is not allowed to give the new requirements as per the market competence in waterfall methodology. That's the reason behind the biggest failure of your waterfall methodology. But here it is not like that, because as the market has been changing every month. So what happened? So if the client can't give all the requirements at once, so as per the market competency, he has to come up with the new requirements. As per the user expectations, he has to come up with the new requirements and get it developed and give the better and better services to the client. Suppose let me tell you one thing here. If you have an WhatsApp we are using regularly, right? WhatsApp and Paytm we are using. If WhatsApp and Paytm, if they are not giving any new features every month, if they are relaxed for the next 6 months, okay, we have captured the market. Now we have no need to be worried about that. Our customer will they are not going anywhere, leaving us. If the WhatsApp company or the Paytm company was relaxed like that, what happens in the next 6 months? Your WhatsApp and your Paytm company will be no more in the market. Why? Because see, always if WhatsApp application, if you observe WhatsApp or the new Paytm, every month we are going to be getting a new feature updations, new patches to be updated. If they are not providing as per the user expectation, because when we are using the application, we used to be giving some uh, feedback, right? We are giving the feedback. We require some enhancements to this feature. We are looking for it. So most number of users, if they are giving such kind of feedback, what they can, the WhatsApp people, they are going to be thinking on that one, and they are going to be developing that feature and providing that service to the customer, to the end users, like us. If you're not doing that one, what happens in the next 6 months? Your WhatsApp will be vanished. So similar kind of an application, your competitor, WhatsApp competitor in the market, what he will do was he will give at better and better services uh, than the WhatsApp. He will develop an application and release into the market and capture the market. And mostly, if you, as in humans, for how we are going to be thinking about it, okay, when we are getting the better and better features than the WhatsApp, why have to be stick to the WhatsApp only? Why can't I shift to the other other application which is in the market? So that kind of a competency is there, guys. That is why the clients should be always innovative, should be innovative to retain in the market, to stand in the market. That is why, and we have to give the client, always we have to give the client a flexibility. So as per the market competency, he will study the market and come up with the new requirements, new innovative requirements, and get it developed from the development team and released into the market at the earliest. And they have to develop the features at the earliest and deliver to the getting into the market and deliver to the end users and grab the market. So this is what it should do, guys. If you are not doing these kind of things, you will be out of the market. Suppose there is an application called what we can say Abibus and Breadbus is there, right? Suppose let me tell you, Abibus is developing on waterfall methodology. So Aviba's client came to me and asking the organization to be get it developed in the next 1 year. We said that in the next 11 months we are going to be develop the projects and deliver to it. Fine. So the development is going on for the Abibus. And next one in after 10 months. Okay, in the 11th month itself, the Red was implementing the agile approach, and they have before 1 month the Avivas is going to be getting into the market. The red bus, what happened is just they have released into the market without giving any notification directly. They have developed using agile methodology, the quick because it is developed and released into the market. What happens? The one which comes first in the market, it will be grabbing the 70% of the market, guys. 70% of the market, it will be grabbing it. So after 11th month, if Lavivas is coming and launching it also, it is not going to be capture the market because already the red bus captured the market. That is why we have to be more fast and we have to be delivered the software, develop the software in a more innovative way as per the market competency and delivered into the market at the earliest. Everything should be fast. That doesn't mean that you should not deliver the quality software. You have to deliver the quality software as well along with the fastness. So that is what the agile approach is. That is what every client nowadays, before giving the projects to the development organizations, they are asking you, they make sure that the development organization have the agile team in their organization or not. If there is no organization is not there, if an organization is not having any agile team, they are not showing any interest to be giving the projects to the development organization. That is why every organizations, they are looking looking at the resources who are having the skill set of agile and DevOps. If they are having these skill set, you're the hot cake in the market, guys. And the organizations are not going to leave you if they have the good skill set. So that is what nowadays every organization is looking at the skill set of the employees. Okay, next one, we'll be getting into your delivered working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the shorter time scale. That means we are going to be delivering the software very frequently. That means within a month we have to be delivered the release cycle. Earlier we are not sending the release cycles within a month. Once in 6 months we are delivering the release cycles to the client. That means the client can able to view the output. He can able to see his application once in 6 months the updates, and then he will give the corrections. By that time, whatever the requirements he has given, might be some of the requirements might he forget it. But here it is not the case. In agile approach, it is not the case. Every month we are sending the release cycles and updates to him, so the customer is happy. And if it is consisting, whatever the release cycle he has sent it, if suppose you people have developed and you have sent the release cycles to me as a client, so what I'll do, I can view that application, and if there is any corrections are there, immediately I can give it to you. So in the next sprint you are going to be making those corrections and deliver to me again. So that is why delivering the software very frequently and getting the feedback from your client is more essential in this approach. And the business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. That means the business people, who is the business, who are your business team people and your development team, they have to be work together throughout the project. But earlier it is not like that. Development business team people, they are going to be responsible only, they are going to be working with the developers only at the beginning of the project and at the end of the project. That means at the deployment of your application into the client service, at that time only they are going to be working with your development people. But in between they are not going to be working with the development guys in waterfall methodology. But here it's not like that. Business people, who is the business guys here? Your product owner is a business guy, right? So the product owner as well as your development team, they are going to be working together throughout the project, throughout completion of the project. They have to be worked through together. That means while they are working, the developers, while they are working on the application, if they have any kind of queries are there, the product owner should be available all the time to clarify the queries. Suppose you are the Scrum team members and I'm your product owner. So I should be always available to you people. And if you have any kind of queries while you are working on the development of your application, if you have any kind of queries you are getting, I should be always available to be clarify the queries. So that is why the business people and the developers, they have to be work together throughout the project. Next, build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. That means, suppose a Scrum Master, we are calling the other name of the Scrum Master is a facilitator, and we are calling him as service manager as well. So what is mean by motivated? That means suppose you people suppose I'm a Scrum Master and you people are my Scrum team. Suppose one of the team member from the Scrum team might be not comfortable and he's unable to be moving forward in his work. So as a Scrum Master, what I have to do is I have to motivate him. If he's not understanding, if he's stuck somewhere, I have to motivate him and giving him the suggestions how to be move forward, how to be work, and where he was stuck, I have to give some suggestions so that he can confidently he can work on it and move forward. And I have to be provide the proper environment. Suppose if he's getting some kind of an issue, I have to be resolve it so that he will be focusing on his work. So I have to be always support my Scrum team to be make their work whatever they have committed for that particular sprint, they have to be delivered it. So as a Scrum Master, I have to be always supporting my Scrum team and make them to be focused on their job and get their job done within that particular specific period of time is called sprint. And whatever the user stories they have committed for that sprint, they have to be delivered. So I have to make sure that they have to be focused on that. Okay, fine. Next one, most efficient and effective method of conveying the information within the development team is face-to-face conversation. So here, that's the most important thing, and I like this one, guys. Here, why it is most important and effective method is while we are when we are conveying the things using the face-to-face conversation is, suppose a developer is somewhere in the floor. So he's working in the third floor and the testing team somewhere in your some eighth floor or ninth floor is there. So when the developer has completed his work and deployed his work in the testing server and send the mail to the testing team to test that application, in the morning around 11 o'clock he sent that mail, but the testing team, he came across that email which is sent by the developer at around 2 p.m. Then the testing team start testing that application. So by 5 or 6 o'clock, he will send the testing team send the bug report if any bugs are coming in that testing phase. They are going to be send that bug report to the developer. So then developer is going to be working on that bug report and resolving those bugs by the time it is around 11 or 11:30. How much time is getting wasted, guys, here? Instead of this one, by sending the email and all these things, the developer is going to be directly conveying the information by face-to-face conversation. That means directly instead of sending an email, of course, for the documentation, we have to send the email to him. But directly he can convey that information and asking the testing guy to be, if you are free and why don't you test that application? Directly if he's convey that information to him or face to face, immediately at 11 itself, at 11 o'clock he was at 11 o'clock if he is conveying this information to him, immediately he start testing that application. So by 2 or 3 p.m. Your bug report will be is generated and it is get ready and send it to your developer, and the developer start debugging resolving those bugs, and by 7 or 7:30 or 8 o'clock your work is finished. How much time is saving for you? So this is why we are making them as face-to-face conversations most important. And one more thing here, guys, the agile approach in agile working environment is something different, guys. See, in the waterfall methodology, the testing team is somewhere in your different regions might be, okay, or different states might be. So the developers somewhere, as I said, the developers somewhere in your third or fourth floor, and the testing team somewhere in your 10th or 11th floor of that. If that is the case, to the communication which is to be established between these two teams, it is taking a lot of time, is getting wasted to communicate it with your testing team, or a testing team communicate with your development team. But here, your Scrum team, all people are going to be working in a big room, in a one big room only. So no need to be going to the other floors and all those things. You are going to be working in the same environment, same room, and whereas most innovative and most creative environment they are going to be generated here, guys. And one of the good environment, the agile environment and agile working environment, like it is in this one in Google, as well as one more thing is another company is there. I forgot that company. So I'm not getting that name, guys. It's a bank name. Okay, I'll let you know later. Fine. So this is innovative environment will be created for you, and you people are going to be communicate. It's a big room. It's a one big room is there where you people, all people are going to be working in different, working in the same area, and you can able to be directly communicate face to face and make the things much easier.
It might
Next
be
one.
ANZ.
Yes.
It
Hello.
might be ANZ. And yeah, yeah.
Not
The bank
AMG.
name which you're talking about, it might be ANZ.
No, no, no. It's not like, and not AMG. It's Singapore company, Singapore bank. I'm not getting
Okay,
that. It is in.
maybe
I mean, it is in.
DBS.
Which one?
DBS. Dutch bank.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, DBS. This one. Okay,
Dutch
this most.
bank in
I mean, yeah, yeah. So this is most innovative environment they have created for the agile Scrum team for people, and this is a very good one to work with. Have approached. I've worked for this team for a couple of months, only for a business purpose. I just work with them. Okay, fine, guys. Next one in Agile manifesto, the other principle is working software. Working software is the primary measure of your progress. So once you have completed your application, that means when the sprint has been completed, whatever the user stories which you have committed, so when you have delivered that software, there might be it is not complete software, you have delivered the small chunks of software. So whatever the software we have delivered to the client, that should be work. Okay, that is the success of your sprint. If you are delivering the project, if it doesn't work, that is doesn't mean that your project is success or your sprint is success. Okay, so they are going to be measure the success of your sprint when you are delivered the proper software, which is working software you have to be delivered. Next, agile process promotes sustainable development, sponsors developers, users, and users should be able to be maintain a constant pace indefinitely. That means here, yesterday I was told you, right? In the first sprint, you might be underestimating the things, and what you're going to do it is you can say that, okay, we can deliver this one in the 2 weeks of sprint. But what are all the activities which is involving to be developing, analyzing, and estimating the things, and developing the code, designing and testing, and delivering to the client? To do all these activities, 2 weeks are not enough. So from the second sprint onwards, you will be come through from the previous experience, and you are going to be estimating the things in a proper way, and you have to maintain this 4 weeks of sprint is enough to be do all these activities. So in such cases, what we are going to do here is in such cases, we have to be maintain the consistency. So once you have fix up your sprint size, that is the 4 weeks of sprint from second or third sprint onwards. So you have to be maintain that consistency throughout the completion of the project. So you have to do that one. So the consistency should be maintained here. And continuous attention to the technical excellence and good design enhances the agility. That means continuous attention to the technical excellence and good design. That means, see, suppose a designer is there, and if you are asking him to be design the web page, if we are not providing any automation tools to him to be designing the page and asking him to be create a web page using writing the HTML code and the CSS code. So any experienced designer also, if he's manually, if you're asking him to be creating the web page by writing the code, it is taking almost a day to create a web page, to writing all this, style sheets and all those things. But instead of that one, if you are asking him to use any technical tools which you are comfortable that and develop the web page, if he's using the Photoshop and such kind of tools, which are a number of tools are available in the market, and if he's using that technical stuff and he can design a beautiful web page within half an hour to 1 hour, 30 minutes to one hour, he can create a beautiful web page. Automatically the HTML code and CSS code will be generated in the background. That's a secondary issue. Okay, so this is how we have to make the things much faster by implementing the things which are useful for you to be making the things, developing the things much faster, guys. So we can use the technical excellence in this. Simplicity, art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. What is meant by this is, if any of your suppose you come across your academic project you might have done in your BTech, right? So 4 of your friends, you have done your project. So if any of your faculty is coming and asking you people, and how much project has been done, so what's the status of the project? If they are asking your faculty, how you are going to be saying that? So 70% has done, 80% has done, sir. You used to be say like this. So how much the work has completed, you are going to be mentioning it. So here how your mind will be thinking in this one is, if suppose 80% has been, one of your friend is coming and you want to go outside, so let's guys will go outside. So you people are saying that, so how much project has been completed so far? We have completed 80%. So how you people are thinking is, 80% we have completed, so remaining only 20% is there, so we can do that one at the later point. So there's kind of a laziness, and we can like the negligence, you can say. So okay, 20% will be do it later on. But thing is, we are going to be delivering, or we are going to be presenting that project on the last day of the exam only, right? That is what we used to do. We committed these kind of a mistakes regularly. Even in any notification is there, if some MSET notification is coming and we are rushing towards the office and we are getting the application on the first day only, but we are going to be submitting that application on the last day of the exam, last day of the submission date, right? The last week or the last day. That means, see, when we are focusing on getting the things, but we are not completing the things on time. We are not showing that much of interest. That is why what here, if you are asking any of your agile person, agile scrum person, how much of your project has been completed, he used to be explained that how much work is not done, he is going to be mentioned, but the not how much work has completed. If you're asking any agile person, what's the status of the project? So he's going to be mentioning the things like 20% is remaining, 30% is remaining, but he's not saying that 70% has completed, 80% has completed. No, it won't. So let's complete that 20% and get back to work, get back to the things, other things. So this is the mindset of your agile scrum person, agile scrum developers, agile scrum team members. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerges from the self-organizing teams. See here, guys, in a team, everybody should be organized. If one of your team member is not organized, that will be affecting on your team performance. So that should not be happen. So that is why every team member should be organized, and he has to make the things, whatever the things it is assigned to him, and he has to be work along with his collaborating with the team, and he should be organized, more organized, and getting the things complete on that particular sprint. So this is what the self-organizing and organizing the things in a more effective way will be helpful for you to be delivering the project on time, the quality output you can deliver with your team support. Next, at regular intervals, team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. That means here we used to be having the best practices meeting earlier also. Before Agile also, we have the best practices meeting. Once the project has been completed, our team members, we have the meetings, and we are going to be discussing the team members. They are going to be sharing their experiences, what went good, what went wrong in the project, and how, what kind of an issues they have faced, how they are resolving it. So they are going to be sharing their experiences with their team members. This is the best practices meeting. Here also, in Agile Scrum also, we used to be practicing this thing, and we are calling this meeting as retrospective meeting. But the advantage what we are getting in Agile over the waterfall methodology is, in waterfall methodology, once this best practices meeting has been completed, to getting into the new project, in between, it is taking around 1 month to or 2 months of time, more than 2 months also sometimes. By that time, whatever the things which we have learned in this best practices meeting, 90% will be forgetting the things. But in Agile approach, once the sprint has been completed, on the last day of the sprint, we are going to be having this retrospective meeting. And in this retrospective meeting, we are going to be discussing about what went good, what went wrong with the developers. And once it is completely done, once it is completely have the retrospective meeting, when we have learned the things from your team members, what went good, what went wrong, and how he has resolved the issues. So whatever we have learned in this meeting, your 100% chances are there to be implementing the things in the next sprint itself. Because on Friday, on the last week of the Friday, we are going to be having this meeting. On from Monday onwards, you are starting the next sprint. So you are having whatever the things you have learned from this retrospective meeting, you are having the chance to be implementing from Monday. That is from the second in the second sprint onwards. So that is why this retrospective meeting plays a vital role in your self improvement in your organization. Clear, guys? Fine. The next one, this is your Scrum process workflow. Now here, the product owner. As I said yesterday, we are going to be the terminologies are different, guys. Here, requirements where we are we are going to be calling them as user stories. Now here, the product owner is a person who is going to be prioritized these PBIs. PBIs is nothing but product backlog items. And this product backlog items, the sprint planning meeting is the first ceremony. Okay, and in this sprint planning meeting is 8 hours meeting, guys. And here the sprint backlog, let me open this. So product backlog items, and it is maintained by your product owner. And we are calling them as user stories. Okay. So this is going to be prioritized. Which item has to be developed first and which item has to be developed later. To prioritize the items. Now here in the sprint planning meeting, the developers, the Scrum team members, they are going to be choose or selecting the things, how many user stories they can deliver in this current sprint. Suppose let us think about these 4 user stories they are going to develop for this first sprint. In the first sprint, they have in the sprint planning meeting, they have selected these four user stories they are going to be working on and delivering the things. And this decision will be taken by the team, guys. It is not individually you are going to be taking it. Okay, the team members, they are going to be discussing on this, and they are going to be selecting this user stories, how many they can deliver in this current sprint. It is not mandatory that you are supposed to be taking minimum 3 or 4. You should not be underestimating the things, and you should not be overestimating the things as well, because whatever the user stories which you have selected, make sure that you have to be delivered 99.9%. You have to be delivered in that particular sprint which is going you are going to be working on. So once this user stories has been selected in the sprint planning meeting, we have 8 hours meeting, guys. In the first 4 hours, they are going to be discussing, analyzing the things on the user stories, and the next 4 hours they will do the estimation the things. So they are going to be taking these 4 user stories here, and let us think about their further split this user story. Suppose they have taken user story 1. Okay, they are going to be further split this user story into sub user stories here. That means they make their user story much smaller to make it easier for them to be understand. So user story 1.1. So like this, they are going to be further split this user story into some small user stories or sub user stories we can call, and they are going to be asking the queries on these user stories to the product owner. So in the sprint planning meeting, who are going to be involving in this meeting? The product owner and the Scrum team. Scrum master is optional. Even if he is not attending also, it doesn't make a matter, because he's not even if he attends also, he's not allowed to be speak anything. So users in the sprint planning meeting, these user stories they are going to be discussing, and suppose I'm a product owner, you people are the Scrum team members, and you're further in your team, in the Scrum team, the developers are there, designers are there, and the database people are there, and your testing team is there. So as per their perspective, as per their role, and how this user stories are to be developed, whatever the queries as per their role, as per this perspective, they are going to be keep asking the questions to me on this, and I'm going to be explaining how this user story is adding the business value to my organization. So when once it is developed, so I'm going to give the requirements, how this feature should be, how this feature should behaves. So what are all the things it should consisting of? All these things I'm going to be explaining it, and you people as a developer, you're going to be asking the queries related to the development. As a testing guy, relevant to the testing, and QA, they're going to be asking the queries related to that. And as a designer, he's going to be asking the questions as per his perspective. So in that way, they are going to be keep asking the questions on this one. I'm going to be answering their queries. So this is first 4 hours meeting will be done on this, splitting these user stories and analyzing the things and planning the things. In the next 4 hours meeting, we are going to be having the estimation in the things for this user story 1.1, how many hours we have to be allocated for that. And as a developer, as a designer, or as a testing guy, how we are going to be allocating the things, allocating the number of hours to this particular user stories. So for this estimation, we are going to be different organizations are using different techniques. So most popular one is the poker game. Okay, they're using this poker game is the most popular one to be estimating the things here, guys. And the other techniques are, we have the banyan size and the object sizes. So there are different techniques are there, but most popular one is the poker game. So what they have done, what they are going to do is, suppose here user story they are going to be estimating this user story 1.1. Let us think about it. In the first iteration 1, the iteration 1, what we are going to do is we are going to be supplying the sticky notes to you, all the people who are involving in this meeting, that is the developers, designers, database people, and the testing guys. And they have to be write one number on this, and they have to show it when we are asking you to show it. Then the developer might be showing writing the sticky notes on some number on this. So you might be at 5, and some other developer is showing 4, or the testing guy is showing 3, and some developer is going database guy is going 3, and some other is showing some 6. So like this, the different people, they have shown their number, they have written, and they are going to be giving the explanation why they have given the 5 hours, and why they have given 4 hours, why they have given the 3 hours, like this. So they are going to be discussing internally, and they are going to be explaining the things. And if suppose a developer is having more experience on this one, and if the developer has given that 5 hours, the other developer is saying that, so why you are approaching this one instead of approaching in this kind of a way? If you are using this kind of a technical stuff, you can reduce the number of hours you can work on that particular feature. So in that way, if this developer has been convinced with whatever he was saying in that one, so in the next iteration, it might be, if he is convinced, it might be reduces his number of hours to be working on. Iteration 2. In iteration 2, they are going to be working on this, so he might be reduces if he is convinced with his talks. And next, in that way, they are going to be getting this conversation, that is here, if he is getting 3 and he is if it's getting 3, if it's getting here 4. So like this, they will get more than 50% consistency should be getting, so that they are going to be allocating this one for the user story 1.1 as 4 hours. They are going to be allocating this one for 4 hours. So like this, the iterations will be going on. So sometimes the iteration will be going to 5 or 6 iterations also. Sometimes for the complex user story, if you are working on, it will be getting into your 5 or 6 iterations also. Sometimes like that. So this is how they are going to be doing the estimation on this. So once this estimation has been completed here, then it will be getting into the sprint backlog meeting. That means these 4 user stories, whatever these 4 user stories they have taken, these 4 user stories, they will move that one to your sprint backlog. And in the sprint backlog, which user story has to be developed first, which user story has to be developed later, they are going to be done this one in the product backlog refinement. And once they have decided which one has to be developed first, and then they are going to be start developing the application. Suppose registration page, login page, payment gateway, as well as product catalog page. If you are developing the application starting from payment gateway, is it going to be useful for you? No. So that is why we have to be refined that properly, that first we have to be develop the registration page, then login page, then product catalog page, and after that we have to be developing the payment gateway page. So this is how the order we have to be followed. Next, once we is starting the development, the sprint is actual starts here. So what we are going to do here, first designer is going to be designing that pages, and based on those web pages, the developer is going to be writing the code for it to make it dynamic, and after that it is deployed into the testing server, and testing guy is going to be test that application. If it causes any bugs are there, immediately it is sending a notification mail to your developer, and the notification mail directly he can speak, and for the documentation purpose, they are going to be send the notification along with that. So once the developer receives that bug report, they are going to be resolving that, and again is going to be uh, deploying into the testing server, and the testing guy is going to be test that application. So like this, n number of times your application is getting tested in a day. N number of times your application is getting tested. So what happens with this approach is your application 99.9% your application is the maximum issues or the bugs are there resolving in this phase itself. And here we are conducting another ceremony is called daily scrum meeting, which is 15 minutes meeting, guys. In this 15 minutes meeting, we are not going to be working in the daily scrum meeting. In the 15 minutes meeting will be there conducting, and this daily scrum meeting will be conducted by your scrum master. And the scrum master is a person who is not going to be so scrum master is a person who is going to be conducting this daily scrum meeting, and there is no meeting room is there. What I mean, where your work where, in which room you are working, so there itself you are going to be standing from your cubicles, and from you are going to be facing your colleagues and saying the three things and explaining the three things, guys. So one more thing is I forgot to say this one. In this, product owner is also an optional. In this meeting, the Scrum team and the Scrum Master are involving, and the product owner is an optional. Even if he is attending this meeting, he should not allowed to be speak. Fine. And in the daily Scrum meeting, and the colleagues, they have to be face their colleagues and saying the three things: which task he has worked yesterday and which task is going to be working today, and what are the impediments are there in his way. That means what impediments is the issues. Suppose a developer one is there where he's getting the problem to implementing the or installation of the new software in his laptop. So when he's explaining that one, as a scrum master, what he will do is the scrum master will make a note of it. So once this 15 minutes daily scrum meeting has been completed, immediately he'll rush towards the infra team people or networking team people to resolving this laptop, resolving the issue which the developer is facing in his team, and make sure that it is to be get it resolved in the next 2 to 3 hours, so that the developer who is facing this problem should focus on the task which is assigned to him and uh, focus on the things. That means the task which the team members has been committed for this particular sprint, they have to be make sure that focus on it and develop that one. And they you make sure that the developers or the scrum team members should not be diverting their focus if the things are not working on their way. So make sure they always giving an environment and facilitating the things to be make sure that the development team should work smoothly. So that is why we are calling the scrum master as a service manager and the facilitator. And once this has been completed every time and the application is getting tested and resolving the bugs and again testing, the number of times your application is getting tested, on the third week, on the fourth week of the sprint, your application is completely tested, has been done, and you are ready to be releasing the product. So before releasing the product and deploying the deploying the code into your production server, we have to give the demo. That is called a review meeting. Another ceremony is called a review meeting here, sprint review meeting. And in the sprint review meeting, the scrum master, the scrum team members, they are going to be giving the demo to the scrum master. Scrum team is going to be give the demo of their work of this particular sprint to your product owner and his team, product owner and his the client side management people. They can come and work on it. And after that, the sprint review meeting, once this demo has been completed, just a minute, guys. Alas. Okay. Yeah. Now, in the sprint meeting here, in sprint review meeting, the scrum team members, they are going to be giving the demo to the product owner and the other client management people. They can attend this meeting. And once this demo has been completed, the product owner has the right to be accept the work done by your scrum team or reject the work. If he likes the work, if he likes that product as per the whatever the require, how as per his expectations the product output is looks like, then he can accept the work. If it doesn't likes the work done by your scrum team, he can reject the work. Okay, he's having that right. So if he reject that work, what happens? The sprint will be repeat, and most rarely it will be happen, guys. Next one, let us think about the product owner accepted your work. Once he accepted your work, what happens is then you are going to be working. Once he accepted your work, then it will be getting deployed into your production server, and here we have the sprint retrospective meeting will be connecting. That means, as I said, the best practices meeting. Everybody, the Scrum team members, they have a meeting on this, a couple of hours meeting it is. And in this meeting, they are going to be sharing their experiences with their fellow colleagues, what went good, what went wrong, and what kind of an issues they have faced, and how they have resolved it. All these things they are going to be discussing over here. And once this retrospective meeting has been completed, mostly this retrospective meeting will be conducting on the last day of the sprint. Let us think about on the 4th week. The last day of the work is on the Friday. On the Friday evening, they are going to be conducting the sprint retrospective meeting, and next sprint they will be starting again on from Monday onwards. The next sprint will be started. So whatever the advantage, what these people are going to be getting here is, in whatever the things which they have learned in this retrospective meeting, there is 100% chances are there what they have learned in this, they are going to be implementing in the next sprint, which is starting from Monday. So this is Scrum process workflow, how we are implementing the things. But it looks very simple, guys, by seeing this one, but only you will be getting it expert and getting learning the things only practically when you are involving in the first project. That is, you are going to be getting confidence only after involving at least one project in the real time process. Okay, so tomorrow
Hello,
we'll be discussing. Yes, tell
hello,
me.
Anil. I have one question. What is the difference between epic and user stories?
Epic and user story. See,
Okay,
can
epic.
we discuss on this one later?
User story,
I already
okay. User stories I understood. What is mean by epic? When it will come the epic?
just just a minute, guys. I have already running late, and tomorrow we can discuss on this one, because I need to be explained in detail that one epic. It takes another 10 minutes to be explaining that one. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay,
we'll
sure.
discussing tomorrow, because I'm another session is already started at 8 o'clock. Okay, tomorrow we'll be discussing on that. Thank you, guys.
Right. Thank you.